everyone, and welcome to Tuesday. Things have been going pretty good on the new audio equipment front. The way we've actually been doing it is because I need us to record stuff as tests, because for one I need to figure out where on earth the audio levels need to be, and also I want to play around with the sound of everything in post. We've just been recording first 20s, which is really useful because we need to record first 20s anyway. I have a terrible tendency to always do them Thursday night, the night before, and that's really bad of me. So a few nights ago we recorded Endless Ocean. These are probably out by now or coming out soon. A few nights ago we recorded Endless Ocean, and tonight we just finished recording another Wii game, Sin and Punishment Star Successor. The games themselves are not important. These are mostly tests for our purposes, so we can get stuff about where we want it to be moving into Halo 2, because we really don't want to change the sound of Halo 2 between episodes. It's not the goal. That's why we're trying to do these test projects before we get to Halo 2, so things will sound relatively the same. So let me show you the setup. This is the setup. Beautiful, wonderful setup. Whenever we did Endless Ocean, the mics are actually closer together, and we were being picked up a lot on each other's mics, and I want to, if I can, avoid that at all, in any way possible. So for Sin and Punishment, I moved them further apart. So this is where we were for this particular thing. There's a rule called like the 3-1 rule, where the amount of space between the mic and the source of audio is supposed to be 3 times the distance between the other mic. So if the mic is 1 foot away from my mouth, the mic needs to be 3 feet away from Mal's mic, or at least 3 feet away. And obviously we've done that. Now the problem is the acoustics in this room are despicable. I mean, they're terrible. This is a gigantic, echoey, rectangular, flat wall, flat ceiling, flat floor, no carpet room. There's nothing in this room that's helping our audio. Everything is reflective, and we know that. But this is where we are right now. We have this equipment, and I do feel like this equipment sounds better than what we had, so we're moving in the right direction. But there's nothing that this room is going to do to help our sound. Eventually, if and when we move into a home, we would put our equipment into a smaller room, and we would pad the walls or the ceilings or whatever it was we need to do. But obviously, for right now, that's not an option. But I did order some new cables for the audio setup, and the primary purpose of the new cables was to run. I bought an 1/8-inch cable, what do they call it, TRS, whatever, 3.5mm cable, to go from the television to the to XLR on the Focusrite itself. The reason I did that is because we've always just hooked up our headsets into the headphone jack of the television, which allows us to hear the game. So that way we don't have to play the game and the game doesn't come into the speakers. But one thing we've never been able to do before that we can do now because of this thing is hear each other. I know that sounds weird. Hear each other in our headphones. That's really cool. So what I did is I got that cable so it would feed the game audio through this system, and then when we go to use the monitor to hear each other talk, the game is also in our headset. So now Mao is in my headset, I'm in my headset, and the game is in my headset, and we can adjust everything. So we played around with it tonight, and it worked. It worked really well. So going forward, we will be able to, for the first time ever, actually hear each other in our headsets in addition to the game, and I think that's really, really cool. So we did Sin and Punishment. We also bought I bought a 16-foot USB cable, just because you guys probably recall I had the device sitting like back here, and that sucked. So now the device is sitting over there, which makes a lot more sense. Plus, whenever we need to store it, which is anytime we're not using it, I'm just going to put it under here. So it'll actually sit under here, which I think is a really nice spot for it. So that's our setup right now. It's not the best setup, obviously, and a lot of that has to do with the room, but for what we have right now, this is working, essentially. The big change that I made from our Endless Ocean First 20 to the Sin and Punishment was I lowered the gain a lot. This machine does not require the gain to be all that high to get a usable signal. I've always heard that you need to get it as close to clipping as possible without actually clipping. But for my purposes, that would be terrible because these mics are extremely sensitive. When they're turned up, you can hear people walking upstairs. You can hear people breathing in the kitchen. So it's way too sensitive, so I keep the gain down. And I actually turned it down even further than whenever we did Endless Ocean, and it was fine. Like, I have it in post now, and it's fine. And we're still being picked up by each other on each other's mics. But I don't know how much of an issue that is. I really don't. It's one of those things like, well, you don't want to be on the other person's mic, which is true, but if you're on it a little bit, yeah, I mean, whatever. I guess it's not really that big of a deal. In an ideal situation, this would be a small room. It would be padded, and it would be, quiet. There would be no noise whatsoever. We could turn the gain down because there would be no noise, and we could, just talk, and it would just be capturing what's in front of our faces, but one step at a time. For right now, I'm pretty happy with this. That said, if there's anything, any audio experts who are watching right now who want to suggest anything related to this setup, feel free. Anything related to how we have things set up. I'm not an audio expert. I never claimed to be. The mics, we have the mics upside down, and the reason for that is simply that when they were right side up, I think I talked about this recently, but when they're right side up, the cables were on our laps. That creates noise, so we flip them upside down. They're kind of at an angle. Do not know if that matters at all. We are being picked up on each other's mics, but it's not super, super bad. I'm also playing around with things a little bit in Final Cut as far as how I want everything to sound. But if you have a particular suggestion for the direction I should be going with EQ or I don't know, compressor settings or whatever, feel free. Compressor filters are something we've used forever on Stephen Plays, and we've always used those. And that's something that I've obviously had to do here now, especially if we're recording at a gain that's very, very, very low. But the end result, in my opinion, is that it sounds pretty good. I mean, what do you mean? I did good.
No, not you, the other one.
Yeah, he wasn't there. It looks like it's you, but I feel strongly we share a gun.
A wee zapper gun?
Alright. I mean, it's... Hopefully, maybe this is even out by now. If it's not, it'll be out soon. There's a good possibility that this will actually come out after Halo 2 starts debuting, but the purpose of all this is to get ready for Halo 2, because we want Halo 2 to be... We want to figure out what works for us and keep it the exact same throughout the entirety of Halo 2, so... That's what I'm hoping for. In my opinion, this is sounding pretty good. It's an improvement over what we did a few days ago, and we're learning. What can we say? But if there's anyone out there that has any suggestions, my ears are open, because I do not claim to be an expert at all when it comes to this stuff, and I'm very much learning. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Fun fact, Austin is in town. He's going to be going into training for I know I mentioned a while back he got a job. He has to go for like 5 weeks of training or something, but he's back in town for a few days, and I'm going to be spending the entirety of tomorrow with him, and I'm really, really excited. I'd work hard to get ahead enough where I could do that, but we're going to meet up in the morning, and we're just going to spend the entire day together, so it should be a lot of fun. So look forward to that. Thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow. So maybe some of the excitement went down because you're like, oh, I was hoping I'd be able to go into a GameStop and buy a copy of Yoshi's Island. Well, that's not happening soon, and I don't really expect that will happen.
Now I propose we begin planning our assault on the Borgia.
Oh, you think we are ready for such an attack?
Si.
Do you know, for instance, where the Borgia troops took Caterina Sforza?
What?